you are probably wondering why I'm doing this like 2 years into having a booktube channel, and it's actually even more than 2 years because I actually had another booktube channel before I had this one, which has since been lost to the sands of times, i.e. I deleted the entire thing and it was so bad that I actually deleted all of the original video files too. I think I have like one left. But yeah, I've actually been on booktube for even longer than 2 years, but I never really got around to doing this tag. I'm not really like a huge tag person. Like I'll usually only do it if somebody actually like asks me to do something. I've been feeling like it's kind of time for me to maybe explain myself a little bit. My modus operandi for this channel has always been I'm just gonna like put stuff out there. I'm not gonna like make it too much of a thing. I'm not gonna try to grow my channel. Like it was always a thing of like self-expression, but now there's like enough people that are actually interested in my channel and like interacting with me that I thought that I would kind of use this tag as an opportunity to articulate my, I guess, mission statement for this channel and how I've been approaching it and how I intend to keep approaching it going forward. I hope you enjoy this. Nobody tagged me. I actually think that the original person who developed this tag is now gone and this like video doesn't exist for them anymore on their channel. If I can find the original, then that will be linked below in the description, as well as a list of the different questions. I guess I should probably introduce myself. My name is Fran. I started this channel 2 or so years ago. For the first question, why did you start this channel? This is actually part of the reason why I've been avoiding this tag. My reasons for starting this channel were honestly really, really dark and sad. I started this channel in the thick of the COVID-19 pandemic. I was experiencing very, very intense grief in my life. I experienced a series of pretty severe betrayals and abandonments, one after the other. And I was detoxing off my antidepressants. Like I was raw dogging that grief. And on top of all of it, I was quarantining alone. So I, honest to God, started this channel because I was getting really, really concerned that I would forget how to talk to people because I was that isolated. When I tell you that I had nobody that I could call up on the phone, that I had nobody that I could list as my emergency contact, that is literally like the place that I was at. If you have ever been subjected to that kind of a situation, you know that it can literally make you feel like you are going insane. Like you can actually start to understand like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you can really feel your health actually physically declining because you are not getting the socialization that you need. I started this channel literally because I was like, well, books, it's easy to talk about. I was doing a lot of reading because of course I had the time, and yeah, I just thought it would be a good way to just like practice talking, keep my social skills from getting so rusty that I wouldn't be able to forge new connections with people. I promise that I'm doing like way better now than I was. There is still just so much work to be done in recovering from that period in my life, and it kind of sucks because like we can't really talk about COVID or what happened to people who were isolating alone. But yeah, that's the reason that I started this channel. You can totally tell in my early videos, which honestly I think I've privated almost all of them just because it feels weird to have that version of myself still floating around on the internet. If you've been there since like very early in this channel's life, you can really tell that I was trying way too hard to be positive. And that's really what this channel was meant to be, was meant to be like an escape from the darkness in my life. I guess that's why I called it fiction-esque. I wanted to kind of imagine like a fictional version of myself that was not having a miserable fucking time, and that like, you know, I wanted to stay connected to like the more positive, whimsical parts of my personality, I guess. So yeah, on that extremely dark note, I'm not gonna talk about that shit anymore. So please don't ask me to. Question 2, this is so fucking funny. what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? Other than my diagnosed PTSD, I study literature. I mean, obviously I did an undergrad, but now I'm doing an actual graduate degree in literature, so I guess I have kind of like a higher qualification than a lot of people on Booktube do, so I can bring really, really strong analysis to the things that I read. At the same time, though, I try really hard to be grounded when I'm offering analysis and not just get swept up in what other people are saying. So I really try to bring my honest opinion to things, and it's a little bit easier for me to offer you actually unique opinions about the things that I read because I don't use other social media. I have Goodreads, I have this YouTube channel, obviously. I mean, I don't have Twitter, I don't have Instagram, I don't have Facebook, and I just try my best, like, not to browse because it actually makes me feel sick in my brain. I'm really not getting, even passively, a lot of that influence from other people when they're chit-chatting about books. I'm also a super opinionated person, but also a very nuanced person. So, like, you will never really catch me kind of like preaching Twitter discourse to you or telling you not to read something because it's problematic. I mean, I do my best, like, when I criticize books to actually have a very well thought out basis for why I'm criticizing them and why I hate them. Because when I hate something, I do really hate something, and I will try to make it as funny as fucking possible, because I don't really enjoy making super negative videos. So I don't know, I guess, like, the biggest thing is that you actually get to hear new and, like, I hope, interesting opinions on books that have been zero influenced by what other people are saying about those books. I also highlight a lot of books that you've probably never heard of. I am a super omnivorous reader. I'll pick anything up. I will pick up the most problematic book you can possibly think of just to find out what that person actually fucking said. I think my nosiness in reading is probably one of my best reader traits that I have. And maybe one of my better traits in general, because it makes me super investigative and I actually, like, want to find out what was said instead of just, like, kind of hopping on the complaint train without even looking at it for myself. So you will get a lot of books that you've never heard of, books that you can honestly buy for relatively cheap because, you know, if it's stuff from the 80s or 90s, it's, you know, probably just floating around in some thrift store somewhere where you can get it for super cheap. There is something to be said for bringing new books into the conversation that you would otherwise literally never have encountered. So yeah, you'll find a lot of stuff on this channel that surprises you, and I hope that the way that I present those surprises will actually make it, like, refreshing and interesting and exciting rather than, you know, just consuming the same old content about the same old books that everybody has talked to death about already that were never that deep to begin with. So yeah, in short, I tried to be the start of the hype train, not the middle of it. Granted, nobody ever wants to follow up on the books that I promote. I mean, I tried to tell you all about Journey of the Pink Dolphins by Cy Montgomery, but nobody fucking listened to me. You know, I mean, whatever. They didn't want to listen to Christ at first, too, so. Okay, also, this is kind of niche, and I realize I'm just, like, complimenting myself here. The fact that I read weird stuff means that when I find a bad book, it's really fucking bad, and not only is it bad, it is crazier than whatever Colleen Hoover book people are currently mad about. Just watch my Life After Genius video, and you'll understand.
Kicking? Oh, I want to do some kicking!
Another, like, unique thing that I can bring to BookTube is, like, feminist stuff, and when I say feminist stuff, I mean, like, actual feminism, like a mean feminism, like, I got a bicep and I don't shave my legs, you know, plastic surgery is bad, makeup is bad, consent doesn't have a price point. I feel like so many people are, like, good vibes feminists, where they're like, oh, why don't we all just love ourselves? And I'm like, well, like, I would like to see, like, real policy changes, and when I see the birth rate plummeting, I pour myself a shot and do a little toast. I mean, I also like keep lists of abortion funds in my description of all my videos so that if anyone wants to donate to those, you can. Side note, I'm thinking about adding some like environmental causes in there too, so maybe let me know in the comments what you think about that. Oh, and I also have a no makeup playlist where all of the videos in that playlist, I am wearing literally zero makeup on my face. In case you're like currently trying to unfuck your brain when it comes to like beauty standards and expectations and things like that, if you're looking to do that, then all of the videos in that playlist are safe and will help with that. For most of my videos, I really don't wear a lot of makeup. Like I tint my brows in most of my videos if that are not on that no makeup playlist. I have like brows, blush, and highlight on right now, but that's literally it. If you want like real feminism that like will help you build like real self-esteem and feminism that actually makes sense and is like logically consistent, then I can offer that too. I like actually read feminist theory and I don't just say I'm a feminist because to not say that is like bad vibes or whatever. I also try to really celebrate the environment, so I include a lot of footage of nature that, you know, the B-roll that I collect just while I'm out living my life. I mean, I guess the biggest thing is that I'm not here to get famous. You will never see me shilling for a book that I think is bad. That is just never gonna happen. I am not here to get a follow back or social climb. When I'm watching Booktube, I actually really prefer smaller Booktubers with like a couple hundred subscribers rather than like bigger Booktubers. It's just like the content that I prefer to consume. I find that it's way more relaxing and I get way better recommendations that way anyway, so. Okay, question 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? To be honest, I just love making new videos, and I also love using my channel to document my life. This is also kind of like a journal of my life in a way. I never get super personal on here, but I do like to be able to see old visuals from older parts of my life. I don't know. That is something that I really enjoy. I also like when I can get really creative with my videos. I like coming up with jokes and making myself laugh while I'm editing. I like making Victor laugh with my videos. Victor is my boyfriend, whom I love very much, and who you will see featuring on this channel from time to time. I just kind of like making this like my personal space and just using it as like a way to express myself. Why do you love reading? Question 4. This is kind of like asking somebody why they love their gas mask when they are in the trenches. I don't know, it just makes me feel like myself, I guess. It really couldn't be any other way. I don't know what to tell you. Question 5, what book or series got you into reading? I actually had to think about this for a really long time. I think it was The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I remember almost crying while I read The Last Battle, which is the last book in that series. Wait, that's actually a lie. So what actually got me into reading were dinosaur encyclopedias. When I was little, I would read them cover to cover and make sure I didn't miss a single bit of text on any page. I also really, really liked zoo books. I think in general, I just read a lot of like big animal books that had a lot of pictures. It took me a really long time to get into chapter books, and even now, I feel like I do still really like a lot of nonfiction. I don't know. Whenever our class went to the library in like 3rd grade, I would get a zoo book and just look at the animal pictures. I'm kind of telling on myself a little bit. Reading, honest to God, probably until I graduated from undergrad was something that I low-key had to force myself to do. I just did it for a really long time because I wanted to be like my mother, who can read a book in a single day. I always thought that was the craziest thing ever. I honestly really wanted to be like my mom, and then I really wanted to be on that dark academia aesthetic. I remember just suffering through A Song of Ice and Fire in undergrad, and I guess like eventually it fucking paid off because when COVID hit, I guess like maybe it's because I had a completely blank slate and I was completely free to read whatever it was that struck my fancy. I guess maybe that was what really made me start reading like a ton of books, and where it didn't feel like I was forcing it anymore, it became a thing that I would choose to do over video games or television or whatever else. Later in school, like think like middle school, I started this book club on Shelfari, which, if you remember what Shelfari was, well, it's you and me both, with two friends, and it was like the Harry Potter inheritance cycle and Wolf Brother, if you remember Wolf Brother, club, and it was literally like our own private Goodreads, and we would like create threads for the three of us, like discussion threads, and just like respond to them in paragraphs. And that was our book club, and it was mostly me and literally one other person, because one of the people in our groups, she just straight up, like, I guess she didn't have a lot of computer access, and so she never got to, like, go on there and answer, and so we always had to ask her in person what her answers were to the questions that we were asking. I never really loved Inheritance Cycle that much. I loved Wolf Brother, though, and Harry Potter. I was obsessed with Harry Potter. I was never, like, a Potterhead, but I really liked it. I also really liked Twilight, House of Night, and there was a series by Sarah Porter called Lost Voices about mermaids. But yeah, I did have to force myself to read for a very long time, and like books I was obsessed with were few and far between. 6, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Why did you stop uploading? 7, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Probably wanting to burn all the files and disappear completely, because I don't trust YouTube or Google as corporations. I think occasionally I do struggle with like my no/minimal makeup principles. Sometimes I am a little bit just like, if you all could see me in full face and heels and a push-up bra, like, I think my viewership would be higher at this point, to be completely honest. I don't know, it could just be that I suck, though, so I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I just want to be all sparkly. I feel like every, like, woman who's gotten big on YouTube looks sparkly, and I don't do that. But I don't know, it's just, I honestly, a lot of times when I do finally get around to putting on makeup, I feel kind of weird and like not like myself. I'm like at that point, so yeah. Question 8, when did you start reading? So I was actually the last person in my first grade class to learn how to read. I remember everybody else had moved on to reading Magic Tree House books, and I was still figuring out the picture books. Now I'm getting a PhD in literature and I know 4 languages, so I'm glad the embarrassment of not knowing didn't stop me. You know, like I said, I forced myself for a really long time, and it took me a while to, like, develop a good relationship with reading. Question 9, where do you read? At my desk, in my bed, in a library, in a cafe. My favorite place to read, though, is anywhere outside. I like to be able to get a little bit of sunshine and listen to the birds or to people chatting around me while I'm reading. Is this the last one? Yeah, okay. So question 10, what kind of books do you like to read? Okay, so actual books, I cannot do audiobooks, and I really, really, really don't like ebooks. And typically they are used copies that I can actually afford, and always paperbacks over hardbacks too. Hardbacks are too unwieldy, too heavy. Right now I am reading a lot of classics for my exams, but there's so much that I want to read. But I also still really do like books about animals. That is a trait that like never went away for me. And books about really mean and vicious women, but I never find those. It's so hard to find a book with just like an irredeemable woman who's like complex though. And I also really, really like historical fiction. Kate Quinn, Michelle Moran. Oh, and I also really, really like books about food, like Comfort Me with Apples or The Angry Chef. Eventually I want to make a video listing other books that also fit in that category. Feminist theory, but like obscure feminist theory that is like self-published. stuff from the 80s that is out of print and you can only read on PDF. I also love, obviously, I mean, you guys know at this point, I love a problematic book. I want to find out what was said and by who, and I want my jaw to drop if it really is that bad. I am a person that I want to know actually how fucking bad it is. It's not good enough for me to hear from someone else, right? If somebody tells me a book is like fucked up, I gotta get in on that. I find often that I really like things that other people find too complex or offensive. Like, a recent one was Acts of Service by Lillian Fishman. I mean, I think that literature is meant to make us think, not like necessarily tell us what to think. I like literary biographies. I love knowing the hot goss about someone who has been dead for hundreds of years. Recently, I read an 800-page 2-part Coleridge biography, and I do have a video about that is a reading vlog and that I'm really, really proud of. It's super entertaining, but you gotta persist through it a little bit, so try to commit. Because I promise there's payoff at the end. I love reading stuff like that. I want to read more literary biographies. That's the kind of drama I like on this channel, to be honest. And let me tell you, if you want some fucking drama, watch the video I made about that Coleridge biography, because his life was fucking insane. And then, of course, I have to end on this note. Donna Tartt is my absolute all-time favorite author. I've pretty much accepted at this point that she is not going to be publishing anything more or coming back. Her work is really like the pinnacle of like what I would love to be able to write like as a writer. I could not really tell you if I prefer The Secret History or The Goldfinch. Recently, I've been leaning more towards The Goldfinch. That's the end of the tag, I guess. That's basically me. That's my channel. I mean, like I said, this is like not gonna be for everybody, but I would be super happy to have you if you're looking for a more nuanced and surprising and invigorating way of approaching BookTube. That is really what I strive to do. If that interests you, then feel free to subscribe. If you have if you're vibing with some of the stuff that I'm saying, you can feel free to like self-promo in the comments below, because I honestly am always looking for new, smaller BookTube channels to chit chat with and be friends with. You know, I have Goodreads, so you can follow or friend me there. I only friend back people who have very similar reading taste to me. So if I like decline your friend request and just allow you to follow, that's literally the only reason why. So just FYI, I have Letterboxd too if you're into film. I have been watching a lot of films to kind of try to make my year of classics a little bit easier, so you can also follow me there. And Letterboxd, if you don't know, is just Goodreads for film. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you're an old subscriber, I hope that this at least kind of clarified my intentions a little bit. That's kind of the vibe for this channel. That's all I have for you in this video. Check out some of my playlists of my videos if you want to just kind of browse around my channel. I am pretty proud of everything that I've put out so far. I have everything from me speaking in old ancient Greek to funny videos about the Coleridge biography or that horrible book Life After Genius, to unpopular book opinions, to reading everything Hanya Nagahara has written so far. So yeah, have a look, have a laugh, and yeah, welcome to the shit show. Bye.